Hi, it's Rick from Emma, the AI legal due diligence platform. In this short video, I'm going to show you the most important features of our platform and how to conduct legal due diligence using AI. So basically, the graph that you see before you are all the different modules that we have in the platform. Typically, our journey starts with providing a data room. You can either create a data room in Emma or you can connect with one of the providers that you see in the left bottom. The cool thing about that is that you can connect a data room, and each time a document is being added, you will use all the features of Emma to do some of the tasks that you do in legal due diligence automatically using our playbooks. So what are playbooks? Playbooks are basically two things combined. What we do is we go through all the documents and we read through them, and we're going to assign them a document type. Based on a document type, we're going to do certain checks. And that's what you see first in step 2 and then in step 3. To give an example, let's say that you have identified a document type as a shareholding agreement. We will look for typical things like exit clauses. We would look for drag along, tag along rights, reserved matters, these type of things that you would typically see in a shareholders agreement. Other examples would be, for instance, in an employment agreement, we're going to look for different things than we would look for in a contractor agreement. The cool thing is that many of these checks have been already pre-built in these playbooks together with our M&A lawyers that we employ, so they're available for the firm directly. Of course, you can also build your own checks, you can update your playbooks, and you can then use these playbooks in future transactions. One of the things that we've recently added is also a matrix function. So if you would have documents of the same document type, you can basically analyze them, where you would say, this is a document I've read through, I'm going to set that as a template, and then I'm going to look only at the deviations from that template one by one. The last module that we offer is a reporting module where you can either share the findings in a dashboard directly in the platform with the client, which you can also export in PDF or docx. Well, it's time to jump into the actual platform. Let's go. So the first screen in Emma, there is this one, is where you're going to log in. You have different options. You can log in with email, you can use Microsoft or Google, and in this case, I'm going to sign in with Microsoft. The cool thing of this login option is that you take all the permissions within your firm, and you're going to apply them in Emma as well. Now, the first step that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new data room. So I'm going to call this Accelerator, and I'm going to say it's a share deal. I can also choose the output language of the due diligence report. In this case, I'm going to choose UK English, and I'm going to click on Continue. Emma will now ask me to provide the documents, and there are different options. Of course, I can manually upload by drag and dropping files. So I can drag and drop a folder, I can drag and drop a zip file, but I can also connect data sources. And we really offer a lot of integrations, because typically a sell side or a party seeking investment will make a data room available, and then you as a lawyer would assess what potential risks are concerning the deal. So you can connect, for instance, to a box. In this case, it's a very simple integration where you can pick a folder with the data room you have provided. But you can also work with virtual data rooms themselves. So for instance, you can connect using virtual vaults, where I also do a single sign-on. So I log in with my email address and my password, and I make the connection by giving authority between virtual vaults and Emma, where I then can choose the folders where I have access to. It's a very similar process that we have with Ansarada. So here you also connect to the Ansarada platform. You give your password and you connect. Very similar. We have different data rooms in this one, I believe. Here you go. And we also offer to connect to Intralinks. This works a little bit different because there's a step in between where you have your client ID and client secret to give. What is interesting as well, if I select the tenant, for instance, here, I can also see the folder structure underneath. This is very similar also for the other data room that we have provided. So once you have done that, you can go to the next step and you can decide on a playbook. A playbook can be the default playbook of Emma. It can be a playbook that you've altered in the past and you used in a data room. And so you can use it from data rooms from the past. If you say you have a deal 3 or 6 months ago that was very similar to this deal, or you can work with a scope playbook. You can say, I only want to look at the corporate documentation, only on the commercial contracts, etc. In this case, we're going to choose the default playbook. And then in the last step, we can choose who has access to this data room from the law firm side and what their permissions are. The cool thing of Emma is that you can also invite external users. So for instance, you can give your client the report viewer rights so they can follow on how the legal due diligence progresses. I'm going to skip this step right now, and Emma will already start. Here you see calculating overview aggregates. Emma will very transparently show where she is in her thinking process, and she will basically start the playbook right now. It will take, in this case, it's a very small data room. It will take between 5 or 10 minutes to make the analysis. For bigger data rooms, it takes, of course, a bit longer. Now, to really jump up this demo video, I'm just quickly going to go through a demo that we've already prepared, because the first screen that you'll see is this one. You see all the internal statuses of the different steps. So the gap analysis, which documents have been provided that were requested in the information request list or the due diligence request list, which ones have already been reviewed and approved by a lawyer, and here are the potential red flags that have been identified. Now, the cool thing is what you see is that you have the dotted lines and you have the full lines. The dotted lines, what the AI has suggested. The full lines is what the lawyer has approved. So this gives you an internal overview. It is different than, for instance, the reporting module. The reporting module is really to share with your client and is showing the end result of the analysis on a specific area or on a specific document. Now, how do I come to this overview? We go through different steps. In the documents tab, what happens here is that we're going to sort all the documents that are provided in the data room, and we're going to assign them to different document types. So for instance, in this data room, there are 4 consulting agreements and there are 4 employment agreements. The cool thing with this is that all the documents of a similar type are coming together, and if you would click on them, you would see a whole pane with all different things that are in there in these documents. So you see, for instance, there's potentially a red flag when it comes to non-competition or non-solicitation of business. You can chat with these documents as well, so you can ask to summarize the key obligations in this document. You can add reviews, or you can say it's reviewed by a lawyer or not. In this case, I've already done that in a past demo, but there's a lot of things you can do. The cool thing is also that you can collaborate. So you can also, for instance, say, hey, there is a specific area in this document where I would like the input of a colleague of mine, and you would notify this colleague on this particular clause or paragraph. And it will show up here in your notifications. Now, how is the data room really structured? We use the concept of an information request list. The cool thing is that our customers can bring their own, and you can export that. So let's assume that I've asked about 50 documents to be delivered, and I want to see which documents are really there. I can click on export, and then in an Excel file, I get a complete overview of which files are there, how the document is named, and all these type of things. I can go much deeper on this because you can do a lot of filtering in it. You can do a lot of markup. We automatically extract the jurisdiction. We show signatures, whether a document is signed or not, etc. All these things that you want to check during due diligence is in there. Now, another very important module is the checks page, where you can manage all the checks. And we have a library with Emma's checks, so it's a library that every customer gets. We've built this library based on the knowledge of an M&A lawyer that has done more than 100 transactions, and also because of feedback or true feedback of our customers. And you see that there are different areas. They're also represented with different checks. Some apply to all jurisdictions, for instance, here in corporation, but you could also have specific ones for specific countries. In this case, Emma is based in Belgium. We have a couple of Belgian checks built in as well. The cool thing with the checks is that you can really customize them, and you can say, this is what I ideally would like to read. I want to do the check across all jurisdiction or only for one certain jurisdiction. And I can distinguish between what is high risk, so red flag, medium risk, orange flag, or low risk, yellow flag. And you can also set the scope of the checks, whether you want this to be checked across the whole data room, or in this case, it's a corporate one. I could say I only want to check this, for instance, in the Articles of Association, the shareholders agreement, etc., etc., etc. So then you keep the scope a little bit smaller. If you use playbooks, the scope are already set for you, and you can just change them along the way for a certain data room. Then the matrix function is really cool. Basically, it shows you all the risks, but in a tabular form. You also see which risks have been approved by the lawyer and which one have been suggested by the AI. So you really see the collaboration here between AI, but the final approval by the lawyer. But I also can click on key terms. Here we have two flavors. Either you extract literally what's in the documents. That's one. That's, for instance, something we've done here. So liability and indemnification, we've only asked the currency amount. But we've, in this case, done a very special version of the compare function, because we used the compare reference document functionality. So basically what we say is we have one document, we read it through from A to Z, and we're just going to see where the differences are. So this is super handy if you're doing an HR due diligence, commercial leases due diligence, these type of use cases where you have a lot of documents that are nearly similar, but they're different, and the differences matter. You can even dig into like where the differences are exactly. So in this case, it's in intellectual property rights, where there's quite some changes. And then the last step that you do is a report. You can dive into it. In the report, it gives you a summary of all the things that the AI has found. You can also give additions to what you found as a lawyer. You can even give type of recommendations. You can always open the document again and see what happened in the document. So you can always go into that view. And the cool thing is that you can just make an export. So in this case, I'm in independent consulting agreements, and I want to make an export about that particular document type. And I can do that in this format, where you get a nice table with everything that has been found and some recommendations. So that's really in a nutshell what the Emma platform can do. If you have more questions, please reach out to us, or if you're willing to try, go to app.emma.legal and create your account with a 14-day free trial. See you soon. Bye.